I've got an amazing shirt to share with you today, super classic. We always love a good princess seam and a good cup size. Tick, tick, tick. I'm excited to share my version. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and I have a beautiful shirt to share with you. This was actually the last project I sewed back in my sewing room, my awesome sewing room back in my house at Brazil. I finished just hours before leaving, so it was pretty rushed, but I managed to get it done on time. And this is a new pattern from Each to Stitch, and it's called Laon Shirt. I'm showing you here Candace's version. She made a beautiful white linen version, super beautiful. I didn't choose a solid, I chose a print you're going to see in a little bit, but you'll still see the details. And if you look at the line art, it's a traditional shirt, very classic, but very shaped. So it's not a boxy fit at all. It's going to fit amazingly. It's got a really easy to sew placket that is integrated onto the front piece, so you don't need to cut a separate piece. There's also no interfacing there with a trick that I really enjoyed. There's a collar and collar stand with pointy details. It's not rounded. Very nice. The shoulders are meant to fit where the shoulders are, so they're not dropped. Front princess seams, beautiful. Of course, I always love that feature. Cup sizes from A through to double D, so you will have different front pieces depending on your sewing bust cup size. The back has a yoke, which is super classic as well, double, so we can enclose the shoulder seams and the back seam. Burrito roll, we always love that. And there's waist shaping at the back with the fisheye darts. That is absolutely amazing, because I sometimes add these to things when they're not there, but the fact that this has been drafted like that to fit like that, I think is great. Depend on how tall you are. It'll be mid-hip, full hip, rounded hem shape. There is a one-piece sleeve, very classic at the bottom. You're going to have a tower placket, which is not hard to sew. Some pleats right there, a cuff that has a little rounded feature. Very nice sleeve, one that you would see in a lot of shirts, blouses. Amazing. As soon as I saw this, I knew I wanted to sew it up. I knew the fit was going to be awesome, so it was exciting for me to participate in this pattern test as usual. Because the Laon shirt is brand new at Each to Stitch, it's going to be 20% off through next Tuesday, the 13th of January. So if you like it, you would like to see more details, head over to Each to Stitch. I will leave you my affiliate link at the top of the comment section and in the description box. To use my affiliate link, all you have to do is click on it and it will take you directly there. It will work. I will get a small commission back from Kenneth, who owns and designs at Each to Stitch. And that is one way that you can support the work that I do here on YouTube, creating all this helpful sewing content at no extra cost to you. You don't pay anything extra to use my affiliate link. So if you like to do that, I thank you so much. As for woven fabrics, light to medium fabrics are going to work okay. You don't need drape for this one. You can choose a drapey fabric if that's what you like, if you like the feel of it, but you don't need it to be drapey. So if you want an easier time sewing, the structured fabrics are going to work perfectly fine. And you could go from denim, cotton twill, 100% linen, linen rayon blend, linen cotton blend, and then all your cotton shirt making materials, poplin, lawn. Then there's beautiful fabrics like seersucker that you could go for as well. I think that would be awesome. I don't think I would use a quilting cotton, or it could depend on the quality. If it's too stiff, I don't know if I would be that happy. But I think in theory, you could use a quilting cotton here. Then if you want something drapey, rayon twill, rayon crepe, I would stay with the medium weight rayons just because they can stretch out a little bit less. The very, very lightweight rayon plain weave, I think, could be harder to manage. Not that you can't do it, but your neckline, your princess seams can end up stretching out a little bit if you're not extra careful, and the way that you manipulate this is very careful. So I would just add an asterisk there, sew at your own risk. Then it's the same with silk. You could use silk if you wanted. It would just take triple the time because you would have to be extra careful. I think tencel would be amazing, and a tencel twill would be a little bit heavier, but also super nice. Let me show you my fabric. This is the fabric that I chose for the sew along, and for this blouse, it took me such a long time to find the fabric. Because when I film things, I'm always looking for something that you can really tell what's the right and the wrong side, which is the case here. It's quite drapey, as you can see, but there's a certain weight to it. This is rayon 70%, 30% linen, super nice. Got a petroleum navy type background, gray maybe, I don't even know, with these big type of tropical prints, but it's not so bright. I especially love that caramel tone there. I think it's really, really pretty. So I'm gonna Cross my fingers that I have enough, and I don't. If I don't, I'm gonna make myself have enough. But check it out. It's just so, so nice. And the best thing is that you're gonna really see what I'm doing here when I sew things. Other than your fabric, you need some buttons and some fusible interfacing, and you're all set to go. Sizing goes from 00 to 40 US. Cup sizes A through to double D. Check your bust cup size by measuring your high bust and your full bust and figuring out what difference you have there. I have a 3-inch difference, which makes me a sewing C cup. And remember, don't look at what your bra says, because that's nothing to do with sewing cup size. It's a whole different thing. It's always going to help you get an amazing fit, especially with the front of this curve and the shape of it and the amount of ease that you get there. When you look at the ease, there's about 6 inches of ease at the bust, about 5 at the waist, about 4 at the hips. Approximated though, that's what I get from my size. It's around there. It depends on your bust cup size and what size you're sewing as well. I chose a size 12 for all this upper area, the sleeves, the shoulders, the bust. Kept the same size up to the waist and then blended out to a 14 at the hips, and I'm very happy with that. I always knew I was going to have one fitting change to do, which is lower the bust height. Just lower that princess seam curve by 1 inch, which is what I typically need. So that was easy to do quickly on the pattern piece. And then I made a non-wearable muslin. I whipped this up after doing the small pattern adjustment with just lower the bust height, lengthen my sleeve by 1 inch. I only sewed one sleeve, I don't need 2 sleeves to check for that. And I'm quite happy. Now, when I turn around this way, you can see the curve follows me perfectly. The fullness of the curve is right where it has to be. Otherwise, it would be like this. It would be higher, and then I would have bunching, and it would be more fitted here. So really important. It affects the fit so much if the curve isn't correct. I've got the button placket just sort of hand basted there and just very messy, but it is like it's supposed to be. I'm happy with the shoulder fit for this style. I'm happy with the length. You can see I sewed on a cuff very messily, but I can tell that the sleeve length is okay. I'm very happy. Now the other thing, there's notches here on the waist. I marked them right here so I could check if that is actually my waist, and it is actually my waist. So I don't need to move or do anything to get the waist at my position. Over here, the widest part of these fisheye darts has to be at the height of the waist. So I have little lines there as well, and I'm very happy I don't need to change anything. Now I'm happy to cut into my beautiful fabric, and this didn't take too long. It's quite messy. It's a horrible crepe fabric. Check it out. It's awful, but it was very useful for this because it doesn't stretch and it has some drape. My final fabric also has some drape, so I wanted to match it as close as possible. Once I know that the fit is down, I don't have to worry about that anymore. All I have to do is sew and really enjoy the sewing. I don't do any trying on sessions while I'm sewing, nothing. I just sew, and then at the end, I'm just super happy. So highly recommend checking if you're concerned about the fit and you want the best. Just make something quick and easy, and it's going to let you know all the information you need. I'm going to show you my shirt now and how it looks, and at the end you'll see how to sew the tower placket, which is what I'm including here. I have a full detailed sew along on Patreon that includes the shirt. So everything from the beginning to the end in full-on detail is on my Patreon page. That is exclusive content I have there for the Orchid tier. You're welcome to join whenever you want. You don't have to stay for a long time. You can come and go as you please. And I always welcome you to join if you want to see more from me. This is my shirt. I love it. I remember the day when I bought this fabric as it was yesterday. It was in 2022 with my mom in a nearby town that has a lot of fabric shops called Americana over in Brazil. So I remember that so well. 70% rayon, 30% linen, amazing drape and hand, so nice. And I like the background color. I love that caramel tone with the blues and the tropical print. I always like it. I always like leaves and things like that more than I like flowers at this point in my life. I also like flowers, but I like this more. Tend to gravitate to that. So here at the back is the yoke seam. On the inside, you can see it's double. The shoulder seams are enclosed in there. The shoulder seam of the yoke actually is situated at your shoulder, so it's not brought forward like other designs. So that's good for you to know. And then we have our collar stand and our collar, very nice. I always enjoy sewing that. The technique, I've done it so many times that I know it by heart. It's not too hard, and I do have content just about collars and collar stands on the channel. Anything that's helpful, I'll link down below. This is how it looks like on the inside. There are the princess seams serged. My side seams are serged, sewn and pressed open. I did a simple hem, which is just one fold up by 1/2 inch. The seam allowance is 1/2 inch. It's just that in the instructions, it appears fold up twice by 1/4 inch. I just prefer to do it once. Just personal preference, doesn't change much. And there are my fisheye darts right there that I'm super happy with. They give an amazing fit. The sleeve is a simple one-piece sleeve, but you do get some pleats there. The cuff is a little bit rounded right there, and then you have a tower placket. I did film myself modeling this just before leaving, so it'll be a bit strange because you're gonna see me back at home in Brazil where it's nice and hot. Check out my gorgeous Laon shirt from Itch to Stitch in this beautiful rayon linen blend, 70% rayon, 30% linen. I have a size 12 blended to a 14 hips with the C cup option. This is the original length of the shirt. And the only fitting adjustment was to lower the bust height by 1 inch and lengthen the sleeve by 1 inch. It's gorgeous. That curved hem is super nice. I think it looks really neat. At the back there's waist shaping with some fisheye darts, and on the front we have princess seams. There is a tower placket. I'm very proud of how that turned out. A few little pleats and a cuff. Very classic features for a shirt, including the collar stand and collar, easy to sew integrated placket, and the shoulders fit amazingly well, very comfortable, nice amount of ease in the shirt. And then you can see the princess seam curve follows my shape after my minor fitting adjustment at the back. The darts and the yoke, so nice. I never put a button right there on the top because I'm never going to close it up. This is amazing. There's a burrito method and a double layer of the yoke over there, and the fabric, that print is so nice. It feels so soft on, but it's weighty at the same time. I think this type of fabric is perfect for this project, and even though it's a print, I think you can still see the details, and I'm very happy with my version. I've got it paired with a matching caramel skirt, very nice. Here is another look with jeans and really nice caramel shoes that are comfortable, little heel there. Love the flare type of silhouette on the pants. You can see it covers my bottom. It's so nice. I like the original length here. That's why I didn't make any changes. And I'm super happy with how this turned out. I know I can dress this up and down. I love that it looks so beautiful with jeans because it just makes it more versatile to wear it casually. I think it really dresses up the jeans. This shirt is so nice. Highly recommend. The whole process was super enjoyable. All the details in this pattern are very worth it. Here are some of the pieces from the Laon shirt from Itch to Stitch. The sleeve pieces, I'll show them in a second shot because they don't fit here. This is the back, it's cut on the fold. There are waist darts right here, fisheye darts. Nice shaped, curved hem, yoke on the top, 2 layers so we can enclose the seams, burrito method. This is the center front. Side front over here, princess seams, collar pieces, collar stand, collar. There's 2 layers, one interfaced, one isn't interfaced. Now you might be wondering, what about the button placket? Why isn't it interfaced? Let me show you up close. You can see these lines right here. We're actually going to be folding this in twice. That's why I was able to cut right up to the selvage. So I have the ugly piece of the fabric, but no one's ever going to see it. These lines are on the pattern and I marked them there. I'm going to do guide stitches and we're going to have one fold and then another fold, and that's going to be the button placket. Because we have all these layers, that sort of replaces the interfacing. So that is the reason. It was super nice to not have to interface this section right here. I really enjoyed not having to do that for this shirt. This is a sleeve. It's a one-piece sleeve. Where you see the double notches for the back, you go down and you're going to see the mark for the tower placket placement right there. This is the placket piece. That's the binding piece. It's 2 separate pieces. They're not interfaced as per the instructions. And here we have cuffs. Two cuffs, of course. One is interfaced, the one underneath is not interfaced. These are the two pieces for the towel placket detail. This is the binding, and the towel placket here is on my right hand. Now, if you place it just like that, it'll be easier to see what I'm gonna do. You see this taller area here has a little house on the top. This is the one that we want to fold in by 1/2 inch, not the short one here, this one. We also need to fold in this and this. So I don't burn myself and guesstimate, I'm gonna do this little shape in a guide stitch right there, so it makes it easier for me to see what to press. So I'm just going to put this aside for now and work on this. Remember, it's this longer edge, the little roof, and the other side of the roof. Again, I want to see these marks from the right side, so I've got pink bobbin thread. There it is, super easy to see, and I'm going to repeat the same with the other side. Here we have them. I'm going to press the longer section first. I can see my red thread under there. Then I'm going to press this one. And then this other tiny one. That's how that looks like. Don't think it's wrong because this is longer. It's going to be sorted out later. It's going to end up okay. So it's supposed to look longer here and shorter there. I'm going to repeat on the other side. This is a little binding piece. We have two. Just choose any of the long ends for both, and we're going to do a guide stitch at 1/4 inch so that we can press one of these long sides in by that amount. I'm doing the same guide stitch as always with a colorful thread underneath. Here are the two sleeve pieces. I've got the wrong sides up. This is where the double notches are on the outer edges. So this is the back of the sleeve, this is the back, this is the front area. And down at the bottom, you're gonna have a little line. This is where the line is right there. There's a little house mark, like a little towel placket mark. I don't think it's necessary that it's there. The only thing you actually need is the line. So that should be good there on this part. So you're gonna have a smaller distance from the edge where the line is. If you wanna follow along, it's so much easier to just do every step mirrored. The instructions show you this side. That's how you see it, but then you just replicate mirrored over here. So close to the edge of the sleeve, we're gonna take this sleeve, this little binding piece that's folded by 1/4 inch, and this raw edge is going to align that along that line right there. Then we're gonna take this placket piece and align it on the same line but on the other side. So it should look like this. This folded edge with a little house on the top, raw edge there, and the line is right underneath. This side is mirrored, so we just put it like this 1/4 inch folded close to the edge, this little piece with a little house on the top right there. This is how this is situated. I'll be filming this side and then replicating the same on that side for all the steps, so let's go. Okay, here we have the sleeve that you'll see in the instructions. This shorter part right here is towards the back part of the sleeve. If I look up here, there are the double notches right there. So that's where the line is, and that should be correct. Everything's wrong sides up. These pieces are right side to wrong side over here. And down here we have the little line. If I open it up, you'll see my red line there. So these raw edges are right against that line. I've done some hand basting around that so I don't have to use pins. Now from this top edge here, I measured 1/2 inch down and I drew 1/4 inch that way, 1/4 inch that way, because that's where we're gonna pivot. So we're gonna use a 1/4 inch seam allowance to go up, pivot, and then go down the other side. It's easier for me to have those marks so I don't have to guesstimate. And when you use a 1/4 inch seam allowance, it means you don't need to mark anything or guesstimate nothing. It's all very exact. As you see me sewing this little rectangle, I've shortened my stitch length to 2. And when I pivot, I might even make it shorter just so it's easier and more exact. Whatever I do on this side, I'm doing on the other side. I think it's much easier to not get lost. It's better to do it like that than do the whole sleeve and then start from scratch on the other side. This is the other side, so this is all done. From this top straight edge that we sewed, about 1/2 inch before that, that's where we need to stop cutting, because now I'm just going to cut through the single layer that had the line on it, right here, right through the middle, and I'm going to stop 1/2 inch before that. Now from there, we're going to cut diagonally to the corners, there and there, and this is going to allow us to turn this to the other side and get a crisp little rectangle. So I'm going to repeat on that other sleeve. Okay, here we have one sleeve. It's right sides up. I'm gonna bring this little binding over and press the seam allowance towards the binding here, just there, right there. That's the first thing. And then I'm gonna bring over this other side and do the same. This is the one that has a little house on the top. I'm also gonna press the seam allowance towards the placket right there. So they're both being pressed towards the center area. Then I'm gonna sort out this little rectangle on the top because we did those snips. You get that little shape right there. Just give it a little press there. The next step has to do with the binding. So this shorter piece here. We already had that fold we'd done previously. Now we just need to fold it here, cover that little seam, cover all that seam allowance, a little press. There we have it. And now we're gonna edge stitch right there. And as I said, I'm doing everything in the same order on both sides. On this side, the binding is here. I'm gonna bring it over where that little seam is, cover it, and press it. Here we have it, binding, pressed to cover that seam right there. And up there, this is raw, but it's gonna be hidden by this little thing in a second. There it is, that's how it looks like. That's how it looks like on the other side. Here it's a clean finish, it's not raw. This little bit is raw, but it will be covered up later. So I'm gonna sew the binding for the other side and then we're gonna sort this out. Super easy as well. Okay, we still have this dangling and I remember I just pressed that seam towards the placket. So let's bring it over just like that so we can see the wrong side. There's my little seam. Now this fold over here, I'm gonna bring it and cover that seam right there. When we do that, it's going to cover that binding piece that we have underneath. It's all going to match up. And this on the top, we need to keep it folded. Actually, I think that this longer slant right here is just too much seam allowance there. It's a bit bulky. So just right here, I'm going to cut it a little smaller so it's less bulky. So that's cut. We fold this like this, cover that seam, and then at the top, keeping that folded, we're going to end up with a little house on the top like this. For this one, I'm going to go over to the iron and press it nicely. I've pressed it really nicely. It's a coincidence that this placket ended up almost just solid, like it turned out from this part of the fabric, so I don't have any print. I think that makes it easier for you to see. So this was just open like that, and I just folded it to cover that seam. It's going to cover all of that. It's going to cover that raw little bit from the binding, and this little thing was folded now. And I'm going to sew across like this, then go up, pivot around, and then down like that. Okay, there it is, all neat and pressed. I also hand basted it so I don't have to worry about it moving anywhere. I did sew the binding without pins because it was just a really straight seam and nothing was moving really, but here there's just too many moving parts. All the little raw bits are tucked away in there, so that's a clean edge. Nothing's going to unravel. What I did was about 1/8 of an inch above the seam, I poked a pin right through like that, so I know the height. And then coming out this other side, at that same level, I drew a line with a friction pen in blue. I can see it clearly, and that's going to be my horizontal seam there. So basically, I'm going to start here on this edge, go across, go up, pivot, down, and then finish down there. And that's how I'm going to hold it in place. And whatever you see me do on one, I've been doing on the other. I'm going to be done with both towel plackets at the same time. And I'm going to do quite a bit of hand cranking around this bit here. Right here where I started, I didn't back tack just to keep it as delicate as possible. I'm going to put this thread to the back and just do a little knot by hand. I hope you enjoyed this classic sewing content over here at Lifting Pins and Needles. There has been a bit of vlogging going on and a bit of roundups going on. Those will continue, but we will still see a lot of sewing over here because that is the main focus of the channel. I hope this was something enjoyable for you and that seeing how the towel placket comes along will inspire you to try it out. Remember, the Laon Shirt is on sale through next Tuesday the 13th. Find all the links in the description box and the comment section. See you again very soon with something super exciting that just happened just recently. I've been to a place and I've done something that you don't want to miss. So please make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on all the fun over here. Bye.